Super strong beast mode fragrances can be a little bit intimidating because you might be nervous that you're going to offend people around you because that scent is so strong. And that definitely is a possibility. However, it also depends on what type of scent it is. If you choose something that people are most likely really going to enjoy the smell of, you mitigate that issue almost entirely. So today we have 10 overpowered fragrances that just really won't offend anybody. These aren't your super out there, artistic, niche style scents that you might love how they smell, but most people out there in the real world would completely hate, right? These are not those, that's not the application that we're looking for. So if you are someone who does really like performance, you want to get what you feel to be the most bang for your buck out of your purchases, you want to put money into a product that will last on your skin for a long time, give you great projection, that sort of thing, but you also want to play it safe and you want to make sure that you're not ticking too many people off, and in fact maybe even getting some compliments, you're going to want to start with any of these 10 that we're going to go over today. I will link these down below for you if you do have any interest in picking them up. I've got a mailing list you can sign up to as well if you want to be notified of any new or rare, discontinued, hard to find fragrances coming in stock or just good deals in general. Get on that list. You'll be the first person to know anytime something of interest and worthwhile comes into stock. Oftentimes they're fast sellers, so you have to be on top of it, but it gives you a fighting chance to be able to pick up some really cool stuff. Let's get it kicked off with Paco Rabanne Invictus Victory, the newest flanker. So the Victory line is now expanding, which I really like because Victory, the original, is good. This one is even better. Fun little fact, when I was grabbing the bottles off the shelves to shoot this, I sprayed this one up in the air about 10 minutes ago. Not on myself, in the air. I can still smell it. That is just one way how this one is so incredibly strong. It's got olibanum, vanilla, some tonka bean. This one is going to be heavier and sweeter and even stronger than the original. Now, the original Victory has more of a benzoin, kind of dusty, powdery nature. This one pretty much does away with that dusty benzoin and instead is just much heavier, much stronger, more full-bodied. Little bit of a brightness, kind of, but then also a little bit of a smokiness. It's kind of interesting, but it smells fantastic. This is one of the better new releases we've gotten this past year, at least so far. Not my favorite, but definitely up there. It's really good, and compared to the rest of the in-production Invictus line, this is just one of the best so far. Next up, Carolina Herrera Iris Empire. So besides the iris, we have some dark chocolate and even some leather in here. So I've always kind of described this one as a mixture between, you know, your sweet iris scents, Dior, Valentino, Givenchy, those ones, mixed with a little bit of CH Men Privé, the leather accord in particular. But it smells beautiful. Very, very, very complex, which you might not necessarily expect. I mean, yes, you know, it's a fragrance that has a price tag on it. I mean, this one is at a premium. So you might be thinking, okay, I hope it's going to be, you know, very rich and you know, bring a lot to the table, but you just might be kind of doubting it. Don't worry, this one has it going on. I mean, there's so many different layers to this one, and it's one of those deals where each time you smell it, each time you just wear it in general, I mean, you kind of pick up on those different nuances. Great atomizers, you probably saw a nice pressurized one, magnetic cap, but this stuff smells beautiful up in the air. Gourmand, chocolatey, sweet, leathery, smooth, super addicting. One of my favorite discoveries. This is not brand new, it's been out for a little while, but towards, I think it was the end of last year, I found this one. It was on discounters and I, for whatever reason, hadn't purchased it up until that point, which is, I just hadn't heard of it. I don't know, kind of weird. But I got it and immediately I knew that I hit the nail on the head here. Or I didn't make it, but in terms of me looking at it and going, yeah, I would probably like that, I was right. I hit the jackpot. Super interesting stuff and very strong. So far with these Carolina Herrera, I think it's the Confidential line. They've all been very strong. They've all been very good so far. Definitely a line you should check out if you have a little bit more money to spend. But along with that, you still have something that is easy to pull off in the cooler months, and for the most part, it's inoffensive. I mean, people really think this one is quite unique and addicting. Same with this one right here, Intensecedrap Poise by Mancera. Same with the Eau de Parfum. It's also very strong, also very mass-pleasing. This one is stronger though. So, it just kind of is one of those deals where I say, if you don't have it yet, just get the Intense, okay? You can skip the Eau de Parfum. You probably don't really need to get it at all unless you get the Intense. You just realize, you know what, I'm a diehard lover of this scent now, and you want to get the Eau de Parfum just to have it. By all means, you can do so. But for someone who's just getting into the DNA, just start here, and you can probably call it good. Now, if you already have the Eau de Parfum, it'll be up to you if you want to make the upgrade, or maybe not even upgrade to you, but just make the purchase into this. If you're someone who gets great performance out of the Eau de Parfum, if it isn't broke, don't fix it, right? You don't have to necessarily jump into this. It's going to accomplish a similar thing. If you're someone who does struggle with the performance aspect of the Eau de Parfum Cedrap Poise, then this is definitely one that you should invest in, because that will solve your problem. And not for nothing, there are a few differences between the scent. In fact, the Intense here is more intense, no surprise. A little bit of oud, ever so slightly. A little bit sweeter, a little bit richer. It's a true intense, straight flanker. But for the most part, what you'll notice is the performance is just upped big time, but it still maintains that wearability and definitely that mass appeal. And of course, I had to throw this one in, Spice Bomb Extreme. It's a powerhouse that people love in the wintertime. Smells like Christmas with that tobacco, vanilla, and black pepper going on. It's spicy, it's warm, it's inviting, it's very cozy. This is the perfect scent that you could wear on Christmas morning or Christmas Eve evening. Something along those lines, just very much has that holiday spirit type of smell, comforting, relaxing, but still in one way or another kind of energizing, I guess is the word I would use, although I think there's probably a better one for it, because it does have that spiciness, and it's something that just kind of is uplifting while still being relaxing. Kind of a double-edged sword there, I guess. It's bizarre, but is just something about this one that kind of gives you this, I don't know, cozy holiday type of feel. It's my favorite to wear pretty much in November and December, right around the prime holidays. Once you get into January, February, I'm starting to get out of this one already into some other winter scents, because I usually hit this one really hard within that time period. But regardless, it's perfect for the cooler months and especially the holiday season. Same thing with Tom Ford Ombre Leather. It's a great performer, but also has a lot of mass appeal, and it's very inoffensive. It's going to be one of the most wearable leather scents on the market that you can buy. Significantly more wearable than Tuscan leather, which of course is from Tom Ford as well, but it's animalic. It's much heavier, much more leathery. This is still very much leathery, obviously, but it's a different type of leather in more of a way that it's extreme. It's definitely going to be more niche inspired. Whereas this one, and the reason why they brought it over into this signature designer style line here, is because it is much easier to wear. People like how this one smells. It is unique. You will stand out, and you can't go wrong with it. Let's keep it moving with YSL Eau de Parfum. Now, this is all about that apple, amberwood, geranium, lavender, sage combo. The aromatics, the fruits, and the blue fragrance kind of, notes. The amberwood, amberoxan type of thing. It needs no introduction, doesn't need to be described any further than that. You guys know it, but it is one that I felt like I had to include anyway, because when it comes down to it, it checks all of the boxes. It's got performance, it's got mass appeal, it's got versatility, it has great quality, it's from a premium brand. It just does everything right. And this one will get you compliments, despite the fact that it is also incredibly in your face and strong. So this is really well suited for people who just want to smell good, but also have great performance. Versace Eros Flame. This one's really nice because it kind of focuses more on the citruses and the fruits. So those aspects of Eros. Eros, the original, yes, it does have the apple, of course, but it goes heavy on the mint and the vanilla, the tonka bean, right? All that stuff. It is sweeter overall, I would say. This one's got more like of a lemon orange, focus off the top. You do get some of the apple, but to me, it's not as much as the original Eros and EDP Parfum. So it kind of is just a more, I would say, I guess, citrusy aromatic approach on that DNA. Still very sweet and still very much Eros, right? There's no mistaking it. It's not different to the point where it, doesn't smell like it, but that citrus opening is gorgeous. I mean, this smells amazing. It's actually pretty well suited for spring, I would say. The cooler spring days, that is, would be really good for this one. But that opening, again, I know I just said it, but I still can smell it, and it's great. I love the opening of the original Eros. Again, the apple mint combo is hard to beat, but sometimes I smell this one and I'm like, man, this just might be a little bit better, at least off the opening. It definitely is a change of pace for sure. If you're someone who has worn Eros for years at this point, this is one that you can get into, and it will be different for you overall. But ultimately, you do get great performance out of this one, no surprise, and great mass appeal. Kind of like Armani Code Absolute Gold. So we have a flanker of a flanker, essentially. And what this one does is it brings in a little bit of iris into the mix. So still very much Code Absolute. The vanilla, the orange, some of the suede leathery accords, the tonka bean, no surprise there. But the iris gives it a little bit of a different twist. A little bit more creamy, a little bit more orangey as well to me compared to the original Absolute. But you also still very much get the OG Code DNA in here as well, like Code EDT. You get some of that out of this one still. I feel like some of that Code Eau de Toilette was lost in Absolute and Profumo, but it is brought back a little bit more here in addition with all of the other Absolute accords and smells. Ultimately, this is a really nice limited edition flanker that does provide great performance, and of course, it's a big compliment getter as well. Second to last, we have a cheapie F Black by Ferragamo. It's all about the pepper and the lavender, basically. It's the easiest way to describe this one. Very spicy, however, not to the point where it's completely off-putting. It's still very clean as well, very modern especially, and it's been out for some time now. This one is kind of divisive anymore. It's just, I don't know, I think it got hyped up a ton and kind of put a bad taste in people's mouth. It's like, oh, it's that F Black cheapie that, people talked about all the time. For me, I have no problem admitting that I still love how this smells. Years later, it's one that I've had in my collection for a long time. Still holds up, still smells great. I really like this. And to put it simply here, I would not talk about this if I didn't like it. I have a lot of things that you will never see on this channel because I don't like them, unless I'm making a video on things I don't like. When it comes to videos like this, I'm putting things in that I believe in and that I enjoy. And even though this is cheap, even though it is one that's easy to hate on, I think it's great. It's got great mass appeal, great performance for something that's affordable. I just like it. And last up, we have Sauvage Parfum. You might think Eau de Parfum, you might think Eau de Toilette, you might think Elixir. All great options. The Parfum is one that gets the least amount of talk, I feel like. And, I can see why in one way or another, but at the same time, it is kind of underrated to me. It doesn't have the same type of youthfulness as the Eau de Toilette and even the Eau de Parfum, but it doesn't have the same type of overall impact and uniqueness that the Elixir does. So it kind of is in the middle. It's in a weird limbo situation. But it does have a lot of olibanum in here. Gets away from that sharp, citrusy bergamot, peppery Sauvage, and into something that is heavier, creamier, more focusing on that olibanum, the sandalwood, things of that nature. I really like it a lot. I think it's great. Definitely one of the better flankers. To me, it's still kind of not talked about as much as I would expect it to be. I do think it deserves a little bit more love. One that's fantastic. Big time performance out of it, and you still get great compliments as well. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. 10 overpowered scents that just still aren't going to offend anybody. You don't have to worry about it with these, so long as you're not going completely crazy on the sprays. These are going to get you compliments even though they are above average in performance. Links will be down below. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.